We're back.
Well, we're back, and now we have David Gervino from the DuPage County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. You're the manager of all that, right?
I'm one of them.
You're one of them. And he always has something very interesting to tell us that we could learn and remember for our own safety.
That's right.
Outdoor event safety.
Now it's summertime.
I never even thought about this, but outdoor events would be anything like camping or picnicking to going to an outdoor concert?
That's right. Whether it's just a festival you're going to with the family for a few hours, or you're going to take a several day or week or even longer trip out camping, we want to encourage people to be prepared for emergencies that might happen.
And we don't think about that. You know, I could see the average person would just get in the car and go because it's a nice day and we're going out. We're going to spend the day outside. But you do need to have like an emergency kit or something in the event somebody falls down or has a little accident or something.
That's exactly right. You know, it's interesting that most people do spend time planning for emergencies in the home, right? They have fire extinguishers, they may have first aid kits, they may talk with their children about where to go if there's a fire, where to take shelter during a tornado warning, but then they go out to these big events or possibly go on a camping trip and think nothing about emergency preparedness. And that, I think, is even more important than when you're at home because you're in an unfamiliar surrounding. And
well, you have conveniences in the home that you don't have outside of the home.
Exactly.
So that would make a difference.
Like going to a concert or going to some
campsite.
Well, the things we have here, we have our motorcycle night, our car night.
Oh yeah,
we have pizza fest
in the
thing.
park.
You're with your kids. You should maybe look around and make sure that first of all you don't lose your kids, and that can happen easily. You know, with all the crowds moving around. What do you do to make sure that they're aware of not getting lost?
You want to stress to them the importance of sticking with you. You want to let them know what to do if they do get lost, where your meeting place will be, who would be a safe person to go to, such as a police officer, firefighter, something like that, so that they know who's good to talk to and who they should maybe stay away from, things like that. And you also want to make sure that they're aware of watching for the weather and warnings that may be issued, or if a storm hits, you know, where to go, how to evacuate, where to take shelter, things like that.
Well, Dave, when you first get to wherever you're going to, that's the time to do it.
Absolutely.
When you first walk in there and you say, okay, well, this says welcome. If you get lost, you come by this welcome sign and stay right there.
Or you give them perimeters. Don't go any further than that table or something like that. If you do, you're going to have to sit and you're not going to have a good time. I mean, you have to put it to your kids because this is important, or you could get lost and we won't find you.
That's right, and you want to teach them from an early age to do things
that they
such
have
as,
to pay attention.
Exactly, pay attention to their surroundings. Look for 2 exits so that if there is a fire or something that breaks out where you need to leave quickly, how you're going to get out. You know, in a lot of these outdoor events, unfortunately, there's not enough safe shelters for people to go to if there's a tornado warning. So you have to look at alternatives. What are we going to do if there's a bad storm that hits? Like we saw, for example, last year with the Indiana stage collapse. You know, where do you go? What do you do? These are things to talk about before the emergency hits.
Well, you're saying about the rain. I can remember as a little girl, we used to go out to the lake every Sunday, and there were some Sundays where all of a sudden it got real dark and it started raining, and we'd all run and sit in the car and watch it rain.
Yeah, storms can come out of nowhere. That's why it's also important before you go on a trip or before you even go to an event for the day or the afternoon to take a look, go to either weather.gov/Chicago or your favorite weather website to check and see what the forecast is so you know what you should prepare for. Whether it's something as simple as bringing an umbrella because it's supposed to rain, or being aware that there's a potential for severe thunderstorms and talking to your family about what are we going to do if we're at this event and a storm occurs, where are we going to go, what steps are we going to take.
Now you talk about a safety kit. What kind of a safety kit? Are we talking about a
like
small
a first aid
little
kit or
first
something?
aid with a couple of bandages and some cotton, or
Absolutely. We
even those moist towelettes that could disinfect,
hand
like
sanitizer.
if you cut,
Absolutely, yeah. So we encourage people to keep either with them or at least nearby, maybe in the car, depending on how far away the car is. A kit that has supplies such as a first aid kit, some basic first aid supplies, things like that. Look at having a weather radio. They make weather radios now that are small, like a walkie-talkie that you could throw, a woman could throw in a purse or a guy could throw in a backpack or duffel bag to receive emergency alerts. I think sometimes we're lulled into a false sense of security because we do have such a great infrastructure in place with first responders, police officers, firefighters, event coordinators, things like that. But it's really important for every individual and every family member to take it upon themselves to be aware of their surroundings, know when warnings are issued, things like that. Don't wait. If you see bad weather approaching, if you sense danger, leave, take shelter. Don't wait for someone to tell you to do it. And a good way to know of approaching inclement weather, things like that, would be to have a portable weather radio.
Well, that's good advice, because you said don't wait for somebody to tell you. If you're an adult, you should know better, and you want to protect the children. If you have children with you, you want to protect your family. So you say, we better start walking towards the car or into some shelter. The sky looks dark, it's going to rain.
Dave, what should you do? In fact, if you do hear that there might be heavy weather, storms, whatever, and you're at a concert, do you just get up and go to your car? What would you do?
Well, yeah, in a thunderstorm, you want to be, lighting normally strikes the tallest thing. So if you're out in an open field, you might be the tallest thing.
Yeah.
So whether it's going and just taking shelter inside kind of the stadium area, away from exposure to the direct outside, so in by maybe the concession stand, things like that. But even as a last resort, sure, if it's just if it's a severe thunderstorm warning, even taking shelter in your car with the
and just
windows
sit in there.
rolled
You're
up.
not going to drive.
Exactly.
You're just sitting there.
Exactly. You could do that for a severe thunderstorm warning.
Very interesting things. Anything new in the disaster field as far as, can you buy kits already made up? Can you just, do they have them for sale?
Absolutely. Places like the American Red Cross, and their website is redcross.org. They sell disaster supply kits, emergency supply kits, and actually when you purchase from them, it's kind of nice because the money they make then goes into the community, both offering CPR education, things like that, as well as emergency shelters for victims of disasters. And then there's other retailers as well.
Oh, well, that's good. You're helping others as well as yourself when you get a kit like that. And I think maybe people have to remember, if they did use some of the supplies from there, to refill it.
Right, to refill
before
it.
they go out.
Exactly, and just like you would do with your kit that you have at home, that everyone has at home, hopefully, you want to replenish the supplies. So, things go bad after a while. The adhesive on Band-Aids and things like that,
they lose their stickiness.
Exactly. So don't just put a kit together and leave it forever. Once a year or so, go through there, check things, check the dates on medications, things like that.
I found that especially if you leave it in the car because of the heat. The car gets very hot
and
when you have it
cold
parked.
and back and forth,
Yeah, that it loses. Even the towelettes dry up, even though they're in the packets, they get dry. So yeah, that's something you would want to check, especially when summer just starts. Get all that refreshed.
And this battery thing too, I notice my batteries start to leak. After a while, you don't realize it. You got to get those out of that flashlight and put some fresh ones in there.
And another thing people should consider is, what if they're away at an event and then something happens to their home? Whether a tornado comes through, or even it's just something the police have the area blocked off for some reason, you can't get back home. Keep some things in your kit that could be helpful. Keep a contact list so that if power's out and your cell phone battery dies, you still have the important phone numbers written down that you could use. Keep a list of important medications so that if you're not able to get back home.
Even doctors, maybe.
Exactly,
your doctor.
exactly. It's important to keep all of those things in your emergency kit.
Well, Dave, thanks so much again.
Thank you. Those are important things to remember.
Yeah, and it's a perfect month because we're going to be going outside a lot more than we have been.
Well,
so
with
far.
this weather, it kind of calls you out.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll be right back.